Hey, this is Mike with Christian. This week is the 6th week of the knowledge branch of the occult, the breakdown. So we're going to end up doing 16, which is numerology, 17, which is omens, and 18, which is palm reading. So let's get started. Okay, so let's start out with numerology. Numerology is, it becomes quite complicated when it comes to numerology because you can take, and the idea is basically to reduce numbers down to a number between 1 and 10, and somehow that gets you some sort of knowledge of when it comes to certain things ending up having an influence on you, and it depends on whether you give these types of things power or not. Okay, well, same as fortune telling or reading palms or anything else that ends up, following a horoscope or any of those types of things, there's an aspect of this that would fall into that type of category. Okay, that is part of the occult. In other words, you can take my birth date. My birth date's 4/29/1966. Okay, if you add it all up one way, saying 1966, right, it all reduces down to the number 1. But if you went 4/29/66 and you threw away the 19, it would reduce down to 9. So you can play with numbers and you can get to where you can produce patterns that can produce different answers based upon the way you interpret the numbers. So a lot of this, there's no true validity. Now, when it comes to things like Solfeggio tones, which is part of what I've talked about on this channel. Well, all the Solfeggio tones reduce down to 3, 6, and 9. Okay? So there is a pattern there that is repeating, and people have found that certain tones have certain influences on us positively. Okay? Now, did they figure that out because of the numbers getting reduced down to 0, or did they play with numbers to come up with an answer? I don't know. They're figuring out that a lot of times right around 40 hertz has a very positive healing effect also. Well, you could say 39 hertz, right? If you go 3 plus 9, right? Then all of a sudden, you can get down to where you get either a 3, 6, or a 9. Now, when Nikola Tesla was, developing our power grid and all that, he firmly believed in the power of 3, 6, and 9. He said it unlocked the key to the universe. Okay, now, is that occult practice? Or is that just a fingerprint of God that he's left upon numbers? Now, when you think about nines, even if you know your nines timetables, you go 9, 18, 27. Right? 9 is 9, 18 added together is 9, 27 added together is 9, so there's lots of patterns, and if you know numbers and understand how patterns work, you can show definitely that there's numbers that kind of show a predictable pattern. Now, there's things like there's different things in the Bible that, that people have reduced down, and people have tried to say, okay, well, this is this type of thing, and they put letters to numbers and all those types of things. And this is where some of the things where things get very cloudy, because Kabbalah does these types of things that I talked about last week, So there's aspects of numerology that are straight out occult practices. There's also aspects of numerology that could just be God's fingerprint on society. So you have to kind of look at each one and really pray to the Holy Spirit. Let the Holy Spirit really kind of break it down for you, because there was wisdom, produced by people, following these types of things prior to Christ ever showing up. A lot of the Pythagorean, a lot of the things from Aristotle, a lot of these things come from that part of training and logic thinking and those types of things. So you have to really look at each one individually and try to figure out, is this a reliable source, or is this person just trying to separate me from my money, or does this person truly have a secret? Because anybody who's presenting themselves as having a secret when it comes to this stuff, they don't. They don't have any secret. You know, don't just save your money. Keep it in your own pocket. Don't buy into any of it. You know, it's just a lie from the devil, truly. The truths, the ultimate truths, are all of them are laid out in the Bible. You don't need to look anywhere else to find them. Okay? So then let's talk about omens. So omens is basically, there can be good omens and evil omens. Now, this is one of those things where Christianity, aspects of Christianity, especially in the charismatic circles, have talked a lot about, they don't call them omens, what they call it about is messianic prophecies, or they talk about a prophetic word, you know, that's the way they word it. But really they're talking about an omen. I mean, that's what they're talking about. They're either saying, I got a supernatural insight based upon my relationship with God. Now, do I think that that can happen? Yes, it can happen, and yes, it does happen, and yes, it's happened to me, you know. I've had people, you know, give me, you know, a prophecy of, you know, things that I should have in my life, things that, you know, and, you know, sometimes they've come true and sometimes they haven't. But really, when it comes to this stuff, you know, I've had things where I've said I need to make amends to somebody, and God has presented that opportunity to me within a 24-hour period, you know. Now, did me wanting it cause the other thing to happen? Or was it a prophetic word coming from God, giving it to me, saying, hey, I'm going to give you the way this is going to work itself out, you know? So, this is one of those things where if somebody's trying to get power over you and saying, I'm going to try to control your actions based upon predicting the future for you, go ask the Holy Spirit yourself. Ask for a word from Him yourself. Give it, you know, get it firsthand. Don't get it through a third person. You know, that's really the best advice I can give you on any of that type of stuff. But basically, when it comes to omens, exactly, we change the verbiage, but we're doing the same thing inside of Christian circles. So some of these things, there's a lot of crossover. You know, it's not so cut and dry what's demonic and what's part of the occult and what's Christian, you know, when it comes to some of this stuff. Now, when it comes to palm reading's pretty straightforward. It's certainly talked about in Leviticus 19, verse 26. And basically, palm reading's just a deception. It's just a way to separate you from your money. Don't do it. It's a waste of your time, waste of your effort, waste of money. It's not something to be played with. It's not something to, you know, just having fun with your friends. It's no big deal. You know, I've heard Christians say all kinds of things like that. It is a big deal. You know, you're opening a door when you do a palm reading. You're allowing something to have an influence on you based upon how the lines in your hands are, you know. Oh, I have a split in this line, so there's going to be a fracture in my life at some point, and you're looking for the fracture instead of living for life for God, ignoring whether there's a fracture or not. If there happens to be, God's going to walk with it through you, and it really doesn't matter if somebody was able to predict it on your palm of your hand or not, right? I mean, these are just kind of the breakdowns here of these three. So that was kind of my opinion on these things. I hope you're enjoying this, and I hope you have a pleasant week.